Productive properties. Definition. A topological property is said to be productive if whenever the family Xi toi, where I element of capital I is an indexed family of topological spaces having that property, the topological product Xi also has it. A property is said to be countably productive if this condition holds for all countable index sets capital I, and is said to be finitely productive if the condition holds whenever the index set I is finite. The following theorem states that a topological product is T0, T1, T2 or regular if and only if each coordinate space has the corresponding property. That is, this theorem states that the property of being a T0 space or a T1 space or T2 space or the property of regularity are productive. For the proof, we can note that all these properties, being a T0 space, T1 space, T2 space or being a regular space, are all hereditary properties. So whenever a space has any of these properties, so does every subspace of it. So if the product space X has any of these properties, each coordinate space Xj will have the same property, because we know that every coordinate space is homeomorphic to a subspace of X, or we know that every coordinate space is embeddable into the product space. Hence Xj, each coordinate space Xj can be regarded as a subspace of the topological product, and hence whenever the product space is either T0 or T1 or T2 or regular, each coordinate space Xj will satisfy the same property. For the converse part, let us first assume that each coordinate space Xi is T0. We need to show that the topological product Xi is also T0. Let us label product Xi as capital X, and let us consider two distinct points X and Y of the space. Then we know that the ith coordinate of X of I, and ith coordinate of Y of I will be members of the coordinate space capital Xi for each I. And since Xi is T0, there will exist either an open set, say U, such that X of I belongs to U, Y of I does not belong to U, or there will exist another open set, say V in Xi, such that X of I does not belong to V, but Y of I is a member of V. In the first case, the inverse image of this open set U under pi I, that is pi I inverse of U, will be an open set in capital X, and it will contain the element small x, but it will not contain the element small y, since ith coordinate of small y does not belong to U. So y will not be a member of pi I inverse of U. Similarly, in the second case, we will get an open subset pi I inverse of V from the space X, such that Y is a member of that open set, but X won't be a member of. Thus, considering all these cases, we can conclude that the space X is also T0. Similarly, we can prove the case when each coordinate space is T1. In this case also, let us consider two distinct points X and Y of the product space. Then we know that ith coordinates X of I and Y of I will be members of capital Xi. Since Xi is T1, there will exist two open sets U and V in Xi, such that X of I element of U, Y of I does not belong to U, and Y of I element of V, but X of I does not belong to V. Then we can see that both pi I inverse of u and pi I inverse of v are open sets in X, since pi i's are continuous and u and v are open subsets of Xi. And we can see that X element of pi I inverse of u, since X of I, ith coordinate of X belongs to u. Similarly, since y of I does not belong to u, y does not belong to pi I inverse of u. Similarly, we can prove that y is an element of pi I inverse of v, but x does not belong to pi I inverse of v. Hence, we can conclude that the space X is T1. Similarly, we can prove that T2 property is also productive. That is, if we assume that the spaces Xi's are T2 spaces, and if we let capital X equal to product Xi, then we can show that this space X is also T2. For this, let us consider two distinct points X and Y of the space X. Then, since X and Y are distinct, there will exist at least one j element of our index set I such that the jth coordinate of X and jth coordinate of Y are different. That is, X of j is not equal to Y of j. Or we can write pi j of X, the jth coordinate of X, pi j of X and pi j of Y are distinct in Xj. So, we have two distinct points of the space Xj where Xj is a Hausdorff or T2 space. Then, by the definition of Hausdorff spaces, there exist two disjoint open sets u and v in Xj such that X of j, the jth coordinate of X, belongs to u and Y of j belongs to v. Now, if we take G as the inverse image of this open set U under pi j, that is, if we let G equal to pi j inverse of U, and similarly if H is equal to pi j inverse of V, then both G and H will be open subsets of X. Since U and V are disjoint, G and H will be disjoint. Since jth coordinate of X belongs to U, X will be a member of G. Similarly, since Y of j belongs to V, Y will be a member of H. Thus, we have obtained two disjoint open sets G and H in the space X such that X element of G and Y element of H, which shows that X is a Hausdorff space. Now, to prove that regularity is a productive property, we suppose that each coordinate space Xi is regular. Let X be the product of these Xi's and let small x be a point of X, C be a closed subset of X not containing the point small x. Then we know that X minus C will be an open subset containing the point small x. So, there exists a member, say capital V, of the standard base for the product topology such that X element of V and V contained in this open set X minus C. We know that the standard base for the product topology is a family of large open boxes. So, we can assume that V is equal to product Vi where Vi is open in Xi and Vi is equal to Xi for all I except I1, I2, etc. In. Now, let us assume that Xir is equal to the irth coordinate of X for R varying from 1 to n. Then, we know that the open set VIR will contain the point XIR since V is equal to product Vi. So, ith coordinate of X will belong to Vi for every I. So, the irth coordinate of X, XIR, will belong to VIR. Thus, we have a point XIR from an open set VIR where the space XIR is regular. Then by a characterization of regular spaces, there will exist another open set UIR such that XIR will be an element of UIR and UIR closure will be contained in our open set VIR. And for I not equal to I1, I2, etc. In, let us assume that Ui is equal to Xi. And then let us consider the product Ui over I element of I. Then Ui is open in Xi for all I. And since Ui is equal to Xi for all I except finitely many indices, so U is a large open box and hence it is open in the product space X. Since UIR is a subset of UIR closure and UIR closure is contained in VIR, for R varies from 1 to n, we can see that the product Ui is contained in product Ui closure and product Ui closure will be contained in product Vi, which is nothing but our set V. And we know that product Ui closure is a closed subset of the product space since Ui closure is closed in Xi. So we have a closed subset which contains our open set U. And this will imply that U closure, which is the smallest closed set containing U, will also be contained in product Ui closure. And product Ui closure is contained in V. And we know that V is a subset of X minus C. We also know that U is a subset of U closure and that X belongs to U. Now, since U closure is a subset of X minus C, we can see that C will be contained in X minus U closure. Thus, U and X minus U closure are mutually disjoint open sets and X element of U, C is contained in X minus U closure, and this shows that the space X is regular. Let S be a subbase for a topological space X. Then X is completely regular if and only if for each V element of S and for each X element of V, there exists a continuous function f from the space X to unit interval such that f of X equal to 0 and f of Y equal to 1 for all Y does not belong to V. This lemma states that if this condition is satisfied for all members of a subbase, then the space will be completely regular. So to prove this lemma, let us first assume that the space X is completely regular. Then we know that this condition is satisfied for all open subsets of space X. Hence, this condition will certainly hold for all members of any subbase also. Conversely, assume that this condition is satisfied for all members of a particular subbase, say S. To prove that the space is completely regular, let us consider an arbitrary open set in space X and assume that X element of the open set G. By the definition of subbase, we know that the collection of all finite intersections of members of the subbase will form a base for our topology. And by the characterization of bases, we know that there will exist some capital B such that X element of capital B and capital B will be contained in our open set G. And this basic element capital B can be expressed as a finite intersection of members of S. Say intersection Vi where I varies from 1 to n. For each I which varies from 1 to n, we have a map Fi from x to unit interval such that Fi of the point x is equal to 0. That is, the function vanishes at the point small x and takes the value 1 outside Vi using complete regularity of space xi. Now let us define a new function, say f, which is defined from x to unit interval such that f of y is equal to 1 minus of 1 minus f1 of y into 1 minus f2 of y into etc. 1 minus fn of y. Since these functions fi's are all continuous, this new function will be continuous. And we can observe that f of x will be equal to 1 minus of f1 of x into etc. 1 minus of fn of x, which will be equal to 1 minus 1, and that will be 0. So f of x is equal to 0. Also, if y is a point outside intersection Vi where I varies from 1 to n, then y does not belong to Vj for some j in the range 1 to n, and hence fj of this point y will be equal to 1. Since fj takes values 1 outside Vj, and this will imply that f of y, which is defined as 1 minus of f1 of y into 1 minus of f2 of y into etc. There will be a factor 1 minus fj of y here, and so on, 1 minus fn of y, and this will be equal to 1 minus 0 since fj of y is equal to 1. So this factor will become 1 minus 1. So we have f of y is equal to 1. So we have proved that f takes the value 1 outside intersection Vi. Since intersection Vi is a subset of G, x minus G will be a subset of x minus intersection Vi. Therefore, since f takes 1 outside intersection Vi, f will take the same value 1 outside G also. Thus, we have proved that there exists a continuous function f from x to unit interval such that f of x is equal to 0 and f takes value 1 outside G. And this proves that x is completely regular.